Hey everyone, Coach Patrick here from Endurance Nation with a special sponsor, sort of industry insight podcast. Very excited to have our guest today from LEVERMovement. We have Mr. Brad Miles who's joining us today. Brad, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Yeah. Thank you, Coach Patrick, for having me.
Oh, no worries. Great to have you. Like I was saying to you just before we started, where endurance sports is at this interesting inflection point. Everyone's hyping technology, trying to go faster through product, through supplement. And what you and your company are bringing to the table here with Lever Movement is just a fantastic concept. I know I've experienced it from my rehab days at the physical therapist office. This is a chance to go mass market and talk more about it. And for folks you that's watching at home, I got screen shares and all sorts of stuff to share with you. And I've got a little bio to read for you, if that's all right. Can I just read it out? So we've got it.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Lever manufactures and sells a patented bodyweight support device anywhere in the world. They're based in Boulder, Colorado. They work with elite athletes, and you guys know them all. Right? We've got Tim and Rennie. We got Matt Hansen, Keen Lay, or Philip, Flora Duffy, Holly Lawrence, name a few. The ladies are in because they're so much smarter than the guy triathletes. We can talk about that later. If actually what it is, it's a body weight support that allows athletes who are returning from injury, who are dealing with stress fractures, plantar fasciitis, things like this opportunity to continue run training. But then also, which I was alluding to earlier, taking some of the metabolic and physical costs of running and running at high speeds off the table as you work on biomechanics, as you work on form, technique, and speed. And these have traditionally been devices at the higher end of the price point spectrum that have lived in physical therapist offices, companies that are invested in returning elite athletes back to health. But now this is something you can have in the comfort of your own home, your own personal gym, a chance for you to take some of these elite technologies that we use to bring athletes back to the performance room and also have you be able to use those to make yourself significantly faster. Whew. All right. I did a little ad libbing there, but I think I got most of it. What did I miss, Brad?
No, you nailed most of it for sure. I would only say we're a body weight support device that attaches to the treadmill. So if you have a treadmill already at
Mm.
your house, our device just goes on to the arms of the treadmill. We work with 95% of the treadmills out there. We only ask for 6 inches of arm space. So just making it super flexible to even bop around from treadmill to treadmill. And for a lot of our athletes too, it's less than 10 pounds. So they can take it to the gym, sets up in about 90
Mm.
seconds, a very mobile
Mm.
device. A lot of our pros travel with it around the world. They just throw it in their
Mm.
bike bag and it's easy to travel with. So
I see that for sure. As I'm browsing the website right now, because I want to give some visuals because people are not going to quite get it off the bat. Which one should I click into here? The Pro or the Pro package? Which one should I look at?
yeah, you can top left works.
All right, let's do that. Let's dive in, which is awesome. Yeah, walk us through this. Yeah, I'll run as you talk me through it.
Yeah, I'll just start by saying this. The company started about 4 years ago and really out
Mhm.
of the heart of I was fortunate enough to run in a D1 program in college. I ran on
Mhm.
Alter G a good bit. I had access to a few of them
Mhm.
and they're 60, 70, $80,000 devices. And coming out
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
school and moving up to Boulder, a lot of my friends were Olympians and very high level professional athletes. And whenever they got
Mhm.
banged up, some injuries, even coming back from an injury, their access to an Alter G was very limited. And so that just got my entrepreneurial mind like spinning a little bit. There's got to be a better
Mhm.
way to access to provide extremely great functionality that the Alter G provides, but at a
Mhm.
fraction of the price. And so my co-founder and
Mhm.
I, he's an engineer. So we really got to designing this product
Mhm.
and just seeing if there was a market out there for athletes like interested in both sides, right? The performance enhancement side of body weight support, but also in the return to run from stress fractures or knee surgeries,
Mhm.
you name it. The
Mhm.
list goes on from an injury standpoint, but as most of us, but
I also love part of me, which kind of gets right at the heart of what my coaching business is all about, which is helping athletes make better decisions. Which is, I think it really takes that sort of black and white scenario of I'm healthy, I can train, and I'm broken and I'm having surgery, or I can't run for 6 weeks. I think it turns that into sort of a spectrum of places where we can say, hey, look, are you starting to experience shin splints? Or you have that like return to running discomfort, which is normal when you start overloading with your training, etc. We get it. You're stressing your body. We can accelerate recovery not just through supplements or buying recovery boots or spending half your day inverted at work. I don't know, whatever you're working. They look like trying to recover. Here, you can just break up your training, much like you might use paddles or a pool buoy in the pool. You can break this out and have it be part of your run routine, allowing you to actually run more and get that time in on your legs on the biomechanics and working. And again, just taking that cost off, which is instead of just foam rolling more at night, you could be like, that's right, it's a run heavy week for me or part of my run build. I'm just going to put this on my treadmill and use it for a couple days or use it strategically as part of that process. I think
and
it's phenomenal.
And I would say that's been one of the best evolutions that we've seen within our customer base
Mhm.
over the last
Mm.
4 years of using a product like ours, because there's not much, one, education in the space, and then
Mhm.
two, really access to body weight support in its typical form, like the Alter G,
Mm.
and the cost to use it. People would only use it if necessary. If I
Mm.
had a stress fracture, or if I had a knee surgery, I would go to my PT, rent out time on it, or use it for 30, 60 minutes, whatever the protocol called for. Once I
Mhm.
got healthy, I'd forget about it. And so that's
Mhm.
been the biggest evolution of being able to have body weight support at your own house is our
Mhm.
customers did start using this type of a product to come back from an injury and then
Mhm.
realized that, hey, if I add one or two of these sessions, body weight support sessions in per week, I really have decreased. I'm using it more for prehab at this point too. So I've decreased the
Mhm.
risk of injury by deloading myself in those 1 to 2
Right.
runs per week. I can use it
Mhm.
for recovery runs, and I can also use it from a performance standpoint to do over speed work or some of my brick sessions, my double runs. A lot of
Mhm.
uses for it that we can go into in more depth.
Yeah, I'd love to. I think I know my team will be sold. Again, like I mentioned, I do a lot of damage control. Again, products that allow us to tangibly reduce that load is great. As we talked about earlier, sure, you can take a supplement here. Here's some deer antler stuff. I have no idea where it came from. I don't know what it does, but other people are using it. You should use it too. Maybe you'll see results. Who knows? Maybe it changes your breath. Here I am, like I can physically tell I am lighter on the treadmill. I am hitting a button. I am lighter on the treadmill, and I'm running. Like just functionally useful and proof of concept in the moment for the consumer, which I think is just so massive. So, talk us through a little bit about the mechanics of the system and how it works. I was clicking through earlier and I can go back the way the suspension system works, how it interfaces with the app, all of those pieces.
Yeah, so the really unique part of our system is that we use a bungee system here that you can see with pulleys, right? So every unit comes with a pair of shorts. You can see the shorts in that picture that you have up right there, and those shorts have pulleys
Mhm.
in the side of them, and then along the back there's two pulleys as well. And
Okay.
so really it's a one bungee system. So when you clip it into the top left part of the here, if you want to
Mhm.
go back to that frame real quick, when you maybe next picture there, maybe the third one would be, yeah, so when you actually clip it into the top left right there, that's a cam jam. So that is what is tightening the system, and so we can take up to 45
Okay.
pounds of body weight off of the user
Okay.
when they're
Okay.
exercising, and that's a scale, right? So 0 to 45,
Mhm.
anywhere in between there is fine. And since you're also on our precision package, that top
Mhm.
left piece there that you're clipped into, if you want to think of it
Mhm.
as like a luggage scale, so that is actually
Okay.
taking the amount of weight that you've taken off and via Bluetooth sending to our app. And on our app, you can
Mm.
actually see that I'm running at 85%, or in this picture, 83% body weight.
Okay.
And so it's doing the calculation and sending it to the app. And we plan to do a lot more with our app someday, which is going to be really exciting. But for now, the
Mhm.
main piece of that app is being able to show you precisely what weight you're running on.
Interesting. Okay, that's awesome. So you can like actually just dial it right here on the screen to like, hey, this is where I want to be, and this is the outcome of that effectively, and then you can get to work.
Yeah, so you actually tighten it first
Mhm.
on the bungee, and then it's
Mhm.
showing you the calculation there on the app.
Oh, based off of the tension. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now it mentions there's some batteries included in some. What does that relate to?
That's just the scale. So that, again, that where you
Okay.
are clipped into the top left, and that so the
Mhm.
bungee, you can actually she has her hand on the left bungee there. So that's what tightens.
Okay.
And so the
Yeah.
more you tighten it, the more weight you take off.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And that's why we have a pulley system, is so that when you do tighten, it
Mhm.
self-regulates, and through the hips and through the back pulleys, like it self-regulates so that you're taking the same amount of
Distributed.
weight off throughout the entire device, which is
I'm just
important.
laughing. I get prototype. I'm running on my
Yeah.
side, like close, not quite it. Like version two over here. You know that. Yeah, and I'm sure you and your team have done a much better job than any one of us would do in our basements. So the concept is just so fundamentally sound, and again, super easy for use. You mentioned it takes up just 6 inches of your arm space. So I just want to go back to that shot in the treadmill. So I see there's this attachment mechanism. So you can effectively assemble the pieces, put those together, and then be able to just lift it off and lift it on as you want. Is that the
Yep.
way
So
it's meant to work?
it comes in four separate pieces. And so again,
Mhm.
that's why a lot of our athletes take it to a gym with them if they don't have a treadmill at their house. So that those four things slide into a pretty small bag. I want to say it's about
Mm.
24 inches by 4 or 5 inches wide. And so that
Okay.
all sits into one bag. It's four pieces, and that's why it only takes about 90 seconds to put together. Is really clips in
Okay.
from base bars to the front and back bars, and then you can put that onto
Okay.
the treadmill and strap it down.
Okay. I love that. Okay. And I'm trying to think of how, for folks at home, probably have some questions, and you've got some FAQs here on the website for people who want to check it out at levermovement.com to see everything and how things work. There's even a video. I'll put all these links into the show notes. Everybody has it as well. Is there a place, like, for folks who are curious, right? Like, all right, super interested in this concept. Coach Patrick's telling me about it. I get it. I need to think about this for my training. You mentioned there's sort of like a rent program. Like, how can someone maybe experience this? Do you have a place where I could be like, oh, these gyms have it installed, or is that something coming down the road?
Yeah, so we have a few demo centers. I want to call them probably around 15 today. We just started
Okay.
the program. So 15 demo centers around the US, and they are
Okay.
today pushed out through PTs. And so you can see a list of
Okay.
PTs around the US that
Mhm.
are offering their clinic as a demo center. And so
Okay.
you can see that on our website. But we also do have a rental program for folks that don't want to mainly commit to a purchase right away and want to try it
Yeah.
first. And so you can rent the system for $99 a month. And if you keep
Okay.
it through 12 months, it's paid off. So don't have to do
Oh, look
anything.
at
It's
that.
automatically paid off after 12 months.
Okay.
And yeah.
How about, so I know we have quite a few couples on the team, or at least active folks in said team. So do we need 2 pairs of shorts if we were going to go through that process? Hey, a pair of shorts for me, a pair of shorts for my partner, things like that.
If you're not the same size and you want to, or if you wanted to use it the same day, yes, I'd probably recommend 2 different shorts. But we have extra
Okay.
small all the way up through, I think, 3XL these days. Since
Okay.
we're working with a lot of collegiate programs as well. So
That's-
not just runner, football players using
Mm.
this. There's athletes of all sizes, major league baseball teams. So yeah.
Yeah, I could see it for the performance side as well. Imagine being able to take a lineman who's 360 and get him running a faster 40 before he runs a faster 40. Because I think there's some probably amount of sort of belief in physics that may be standing in the way of some of that higher performance, which is huge. I also love the idea of being able to show people what's possible. When we say to folks like, hey, 5 pounds, you're this much faster per mile. And people are like, that doesn't mean anything to me. I can't materially understand that, but to be able to take a patient or someone and put them on a treadmill and show them like, this is you in 5 pounds or 10 pounds later and what it feels like to run. Again, like a massive sensory experience. Like, it takes it out of the imaginary side and puts it functionally into reality, which is phenomenal.
Yeah. The neat part about that, even from like a science point of view, did some research around this as well, was about 10% if you remove about 10% of your body weight, you can run at the same effort at 30 seconds per mile faster. And that's a generalization, but that's if you're running anywhere from 7 to 9 minute miles, about 90% of your body weight. If you're running at 90% of your body weight, you can take off 30 seconds per mile faster, and you have the same heart rate and same effort, but you're still taking some of that loading off as well of your joints and knees and muscles.
Yeah, I mean, for us, we talk race execution with our athletes. There's a wide spectrum of people going to world championships, and people are happy to be finishing there first. But that improvement from fitness and body composition, there's like a perfect level of intersection for us, which we strive for before we move to the ends of like super light or super, super fast, because there's obviously cost and benefit on both sides of that spectrum. But to be able to tell people like, hey, slowing down is a tangible improvement. And so actually the costs are better for you at the end of a longer day than they are in the early stage. There may be someone who is more mentally tough, or maybe is better at the shorter distances, but we talk about the last 4 miles of a marathon or the last 4 miles of an Ironman marathon. That's a massive difference if you're able to put in the time without the corresponding costs. And I'll give a shout out to all of our athletes who say, you know what, I'm not a high performance athlete. I don't know this. One of the hidden costs of training for people who are marathoners or runners of a slower distance is, if you and I are both training for a marathon and I run 12-minute miles and you run 7-minute miles, and we've got a 10-minute run, a 10-mile run today. I'm running 2 hours. You're running an hour and 10 minutes. I'm putting 50 more minutes of movement on my body, which is why we see runners who are middle back of the pack struggling so much with overuse injuries and training, because they are just training so much more. Like, the faster folks are going, the less actually in a way the cost is. It's not any easier by any means, but the physiological cost goes down dramatically. And so I would actually say this could be even more beneficial for folks who fit into that second category of saying, yeah, I'm in the middle, I want to get better, but I am struggling with this recurring Achilles issue or this recurring knee issue, etc. It requires, I don't know, do the math. Like, you should come up with some kind of scale that says, oh, so you injured your knee, you've got to go to physical therapy. What's your copay? Great. You only get 10 of those visits till you're kicked out. Why do that when you can just have this, cut those visits down, and just be healthy, be running in terms of that cost side.
Yeah. And we always want to work through the PT, work through the coach. They're the ones that are closest to the athletes. For us to come out here and give specific advice when there's so many different
Yeah.
types of people, working through the people that know them best is always, I'd say, the better place to go to there. But no, I completely agree. I think there's, from the overuse standpoint, like you mentioned earlier, we do see, we do see a lot of our athletes that are trying to get ready for the marathon or the Ironman split their long runs on our system and outdoors. So if they do have to do that 2 hour or 2 hour plus run, sometimes they'll split it 50-50, even if they're healthy on our system and then outdoors, just to make sure that they can keep training injury free.
I love that. There's so many upsides to the ability to add this dimension to your training. It's kind of like going from just a trainer, which was just like a fluid resistance trainer staring at a white wall, to now being in a dynamic trainer where I can modulate the resistance and get much better results out of it. I love that. I love that concept for folks. I think it's just massive. How on the short side, again, because these are the questions that I'll be getting behind the scenes. So, okay, I've got the short with these pulleys on it. I'm assuming hand wash only in terms of care and taking care of. What does that look like?
Yeah, especially for the triathletes out there, the easiest way to say it is wash them the same as you wash your bibs, your cycling bibs.
Oh, okay.
You throw them on cold in the washer, but hang dry them, and then they have a long life if you do that. If you want to hand wash, that's totally fine as well.
Okay.
Either way.
All right. All right. Awesome. That's super easy. That's good. Most of my athletes already have their own separate laundry basket. Put it with it. Just keep it over here.
We all do, right? Especially because it's usually a sweatier basket.
Yeah, exactly. And my family was right on top of that one. They were like, don't want your shirt near my shirt. Okay, I love that. Are there any, I'm trying to think of if someone's got like a dynamic treadmill or like some treadmills that are like not compatible. Should they go look at the website FAQs, figure that out? How much due diligence is required before they pull the trigger?
It's up to up to that person, right? So we do have guidelines, and we also do have a list of treadmills of compatibility. We also have a chat feature on our website. So you're welcome to reach out to our team and just say, this is the treadmill I have. Can you do the due diligence? We're happy to do the due diligence for you. So if you do have any questions around that, feel free to reach out to us. Even the chat feature at the bottom, someone will respond to you pretty quickly.
Yeah. Okay. Love it.
And and so I would say that's a good place to start. If you have any questions, you can see right there, compatibility list. If you scroll up just a tiny bit, there's just, as you probably know, there's a lot of treadmills out there in the world, but
oh my God. Yeah.
There's 3 pages so far. I think that continues getting built out all the time. And like I said, so as you scroll down even, sorry, you were just on that list, but as you scroll down,
I'll go back.
Out of 3 pages worth, there's only at the bottom 2 that weren't compatible. Knowing those treadmills, those are both $15,000-$20,000 treadmills. There's not a huge amount of people that have those at their house, but there's 2 ways. But again, 95% of the people that, at home, even commercial treadmills, are compatible. Pelotons, especially, like most people are like, oh, there's a massive screen right in front of me. Is that compatible? And we still work with the Peloton really well.
Okay. All right. Awesome. That's fantastic. Again, I think when you reached out to me and wanted to do the podcast, I was like, okay. I clicked through and took a look at it, and I was like, oh my God, this is a no-brainer. Like I said, the functionality of this is what I understand. The benefit is very clear. It's a pulley system. It's backed by science. Very simple. It's 4 pieces. Really kudos to you and your design team. There's a lot of really complicated ways to achieve similar methodologies, and I appreciate how you've engineered it so that athletes at home can take advantage of it. And the rent to try program is a no-brainer to put that in there and see it, to have people use it. I can't imagine my physical therapist out here was in Rhode Island, worked with a lot of elite runners in the Northeast, Olympics trials, all that. And it was hard to get on the Alter G when needed because there were just so many people on it. And when there was the pay to play, but there was also the pecking order of she's going to do her thing versus for the other people. So I love the idea of just having the everyman athlete get onto that and experience what it means to be healthy and to run. I just see all sorts of opportunity. This is fantastic. Well, I'll put all the links in the show notes and stuff, and we can follow online. Are you at which social media? Is it mostly Instagram? Where can people follow you to see it?
Instagram's usually the best. We produce a lot of content through our Instagram. It's at LEVERMovement. So pretty simple there, at LEVERMovement on Instagram. But we push everything out through all social media channels. I think we just usually see the most engagement on Instagram. And it's where we're working with our athletes, do a lot of collaborations with the professionals. So it's fun just to follow along, see who's using it. Again, going back to it, it's really cool to see how everything has evolved, just from the standpoint of early on, we got a shout out from somebody about a year and a half ago or so saying, whenever a pro posts about Lever, it's always because they're injured. And that was a year and a half ago or so. And that's completely changed. And so the
Mhm.
cool part is really the performance side is getting adopted and being recognized as a place that people don't give this up once they start it. But it's also hard to wrap your
Mhm.
mind around the benefits of it if you haven't tried it before. And we were even
Mhm.
at USA Triathlon Nationals up in Milwaukee this last weekend. So just got
Oh
back
yeah.
yesterday. And it was great because we were for the first time able to have a treadmill in public and let people demo the product, let them see it. And so a lot of people came by saying, like, hey,
Mhm.
I've seen this before. But then once they got jumped on the treadmill and actually tried it for themselves, they really understood the impact that this could have in their training and their volume and also
Mhm.
staying injury free.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's ultimately that's the end of the day. People talk about elite performance, and we'll buy wheels, we'll buy helmets, we'll buy wetsuits, we'll buy carbon sneaker insoles, all sorts of money to have this idea that this thing I attach to me makes me faster. But really, it's the engine that does the work. And if you can keep the engine healthier, if you can put more work into the engine without the associated cost or the wear or tear, that's the that's really the golden ticket, right? It takes athletes a long time to figure out how many miles can I run? Because unlike your child who touches the hot pot on the stove and learns right away, because as athletes, we go back and we get re-injured like 3, 4 times before we actually really figure it out. We can't afford to have all that downtime. It just robs you of your performance for that year and for consecutive years as well. So I just love the idea of having it there and saying it's a 365-day a year complement to what I'm doing for my run training. We do run durability inside Endurance Nation, which is our fall component. Run streaks, short runs, 2 miles, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. But the cumulative effect of that for keeping people healthy when they're building to their race and beyond has been phenomenal. And to be able to take this to those folks and say, whether or not you have concerns, here, try this. If it makes your running better in 30 days, keep it. Like it's going to
Yeah.
be super excited to roll that out.
Yeah.
But this has been awesome. This has been fantastic. It's great also just to have an opportunity to bring this to our audience at a time when you are growing. This is a preview for you at home who are watching or listening that you'll be seeing this coming out more on the rest over 2023 and well into 2024 as well. I could see some great holiday gift ideas for sure for runners who are looking for some breaks as well. So we can work on that.
Again, appreciate it. Yeah, no, we were fortunate to win the 2023 Global Triathlon Awards for the best run product of the year. And beat out the newest super shoes from the top running
Hmm.
brands nation, a couple other running brands as well. So it's really neat to see that like this space is finally getting recognition just because really not a well-known space yet, but we're hoping to
Hmm.
change that. And so it's really great to come on onto a show like yours and be able to talk to you and your audience.
Fantastic. We'll keep the conversation going. I'll put this out. We'll publish it in about a week or two. I'll let you know when it goes live, and we'll do a social media push about it as well, so we can tell everyone. It's super excited to have it, and anything we can do to help you out. Like it's a no-brainer. Like I said, I'm happy. This is the kind of thing I could take to someone. They'd be like, "Why don't I have this already?" I'm like, "I don't know. Let's get you one." So
Yeah,
fantastic.
thank you.
All right, everyone. Well, Lever Movement, you heard it here first. Check it out. Unleash your running potential by staying healthy when it matters the most. It's $99 a month to try it with the rent to buy program, which is phenomenal. And it's as simple as literally using a scale and make yourself lighter. Who doesn't like scales that make themselves lighter and faster? This is the thing that you want to step on every morning. You can do it before you run. So thanks again so much. I'll see you guys online.
Thanks, Coach Patrick.
No problem.